Hello, I'm Dr. David. I'm 60 years old, and for over 3 decades, I've worked with patients of all ages, from teenagers to older adults. Today, I'm going to share with you the topic of stroke, how to prevent it, recognize it, and respond promptly, along with the 10 golden messages to protect your brain and prevent stroke after age 60. One peaceful morning, Jack, 72 years old, was sitting at the breakfast table with a steaming cup of coffee. His wife recalls that in just a split second, Robert's right hand froze in midair. He tried to speak, but the words came out as distorted, broken sounds. She thought he was choking, but it wasn't that. It was his brain crying out for help. Over more than 30 years of practice, I've seen hundreds of patients like Robert. What always concerns me is that most of them don't realize what's happening in those first critical minutes. But Robert was different. He remembered a technique I had taught during a community health session: lie on your back. Elevate your legs about 12 inches and breathe deeply and slowly. Sounds simple, right? But that very action helped blood flow back to his brain, keeping him alert until the ambulance arrived. I want you to imagine if this happened to you or someone you love, would you know what to do? Sometimes staying calm and knowing the right steps doesn't just save a life. It saves memories, your voice, and the precious days still ahead. Prevention, recognition, and timely response to stroke. 1. Stroke often starts quietly. I want you to imagine this. You're sitting reading a book or enjoying your morning coffee, and suddenly your hand goes numb. Your mouth twists slightly and your words stumble. In the blink of an eye, everything returns to normal, as if nothing happened. It's easy to ignore it and think, "I'm just tired." But that is the loudest whisper of your body, your brain signaling that a minor stroke or a transient ischemic attack may be occurring. I once had a patient, Mrs. Helen, 71. She told me her hand went numb. Her vision blurred, but it lasted less than a minute. When it passed, she thought everything was fine. If she hadn't sought medical attention, the next stroke could have been far more serious. The key point I want to stress: never ignore those brief warning signs. The brain doesn't shout. It whispers, but that whisper is your chance to act, to protect yourself. Recognize it. Pause and prepare. That's the only way to turn the whisper into a lifesaver instead of a final warning. 2. Immediate action can save your life. Now imagine this. You're in the kitchen and suddenly dizziness hits. Your hand trembles. Your words stumble. Instead of panicking, you know exactly what to do. This is when the blood shift maneuver comes into play. A patient of mine, Mr. Frank, 73, experienced a brief episode of cerebral ischemia. When numbness and slurred speech appeared, he lay down, elevated his legs about 12 inches, and breathed slowly and evenly. No medication, no medical devices, just gravity and controlled breathing. And the remarkable thing, blood continued flowing to his brain, maintaining critical oxygen during those precious minutes before the ambulance arrived. I always emphasize, this is not a cure for stroke, but it's a temporary armor for your brain. Every second counts, and a few minutes of calm, correct action can mean the difference between permanent brain damage and a full recovery. So if one day your body sends a warning, don't stand up, don't try to ignore it. Lie down, raise your legs, breathe, give your brain a fighting chance. 3. Preparation and practice. Picture this: a peaceful morning, enjoying a cup of tea when your hand tingles or your mouth twists slightly. If you've never practiced, panic will take over. But if you've rehearsed, every reaction becomes instinctive. A patient of mine, Mrs. Linda, 69, had experienced several brief cerebral ischemic events. We practiced a brain-saving drill when warning signs appeared. 1. Raise your legs. Breathe slowly and stay calm. At first, it was an exercise. After a few weeks, when a real episode occurred, her body responded automatically. Go panic. No wasted time. Blood continued flowing. The brain was protected, and the ambulance arrived in time. This teaches an important lesson: the brain and body can be trained to respond correctly during a crisis. Preparation today protects tomorrow. A few minutes of consistent practice may seem small, but in a real emergency, it can be the difference between permanent damage and survival. So practice. Turn calm, controlled breathing and brain-saving postures into instinct, so your brain always has a survival map at hand. 4. Stroke recovery. I always remind my patients, the brain is a living network, not a rigid machine. When damaged by stroke, brain cells may no longer function as before, but fortunately the brain can create new pathways. This is called neuroplasticity. I remember Mrs. Ellen, 74, who couldn't hold a spoon after her stroke. We started with gentle movements, moving her arms and legs, rotating her shoulders, even imagining motion in her mind. Combined with slow, conscious breathing to increase oxygen to the brain and a nutrient-rich diet including omega-3s, leafy greens, beet juice, and dark chocolate, her brain gradually relearned how to control her body. Each day, a little progress, each small step like laying bricks to rebuild a living pathway. Imagine a road washed out by a flood seemingly impassable, but gradually the brain finds new routes reconnecting the paths. Stroke recovery is not magic, it's patience, consistency, and active participation. So if you or a loved one has experienced a stroke, don't lose hope. Every breath, every gentle movement, every smart meal sends a message to the brain. Reconnect. Keep living. 5. Daily nutrition and habits. I always tell my patients taking care of your brain isn't just about medication, it's about your daily lifestyle. A smart meal and simple habits can make a huge difference. Imagine your morning: a slice of grilled salmon, lightly sautéed greens, and a glass of fresh beet juice. These foods aren't just delicious, they help blood flow more easily, reducing the risk of blockages. Omega-3s from salmon nourish your blood vessels. Antioxidants in leafy greens and dark chocolate protect brain cells, and natural nitrates in beets relax vessels, boosting blood flow to the brain. Daily habits matter too: light walking, deep breathing, stretching your arms and legs, and getting enough sleep. All signal to your body that the brain is a top priority. I've seen 70-year-old patients who, after a few months of following these habits, feel mentally sharper with clearer memory, and their morning dizziness almost disappears. So treat each meal, each step, and each breath as an opportunity to nourish and protect your brain. Taking care of yourself daily is an investment in the years ahead, keeping your mind alert and healthy. 6. Morning routine for prevention. I always emphasize to my patients, morning is the golden time to kickstart brain circulation. A simple 3-minute routine, what I call the 3-minute morning reset, can make a big difference. Imagine waking up. Before leaving the bed, sit down and take a few deep breaths, feeling the air fill your lungs. Then, gently flex and extend your calves, awakening your second heart, the calf muscles, to push blood toward your heart and brain. Finally, rotate your shoulders and neck slowly, as if greeting the morning, activating your entire nervous system. Just 3 minutes. But brain circulation can improve by up to 20, helping reduce the risk of dizziness and stroke. One patient of mine, Mr. Henry 70, shared, "I never thought 3 minutes could make me feel so alert and light. Mornings used to make me dizzy, but now it's completely different." So make those 3 minutes a daily brain care ritual. Every breath, every gentle movement is an opportunity to kickstart blood flow, awaken your mind, and protect your life every day. 7. Mindset and awareness. I want you to picture this one morning. Your hand tingles, your mouth twists slightly, your eyes flicker. If you panic, you'll react incorrectly, putting your brain under pressure. But if you stay calm, recognize the signs early, and are prepared, every action becomes natural and effective. Lie down, raise your legs, breathe evenly, call for help. In that moment, awareness and mindset become your brain's strongest protection. Old age is often associated with decline, but I see the opposite. A patient of mine, Mrs. Margaret, 68, had experienced multiple brief cerebral ischemic episodes. She said, "I've never felt so alert and focused." With training and survival reflexes combined with body awareness and daily habits, she realized each day was an opportunity to improve her health. Mindset awareness and preparation are invisible but powerful weapons against stroke. Aging is not a limitation, it's the time to understand your body. Listen to it and take proactive control of your health so you can live healthy, clear-minded, and fully present in every moment. 10. Golden messages to protect your brain and prevent stroke after 60. 1. Breathe slowly, deeply, and mindfully. You know, I once met a patient named Margaret, 68 years old. A kind woman, always busy taking care of her family. One afternoon, while gardening, she felt dizzy, her heart racing, her breath shallow. She thought it was just normal fatigue, but in that moment, her body was sending a warning signal. When I saw Margaret again in my clinic, she said, "Doctor, I never imagined that just slowing down my breathing could save me from panic." And she was right. When we inhale deeply through the nose, hold briefly, and exhale slowly through the mouth, something remarkable happens. The heart begins to stabilize, blood pressure calms, blood vessels relax, and oxygen-rich blood flows back to the brain. Have you ever noticed that when stressed, you tend to hold your breath? It's a reflex of fear, and it also blocks blood flow. At age 60 and beyond, breathing isn't just life. It's the bridge between calm and panic, between alertness and danger. So the next time you feel dizzy or your heart racing, pause. Breathe deeply. Hold it. Exhale slowly. In that moment, you're giving your brain a chance to survive. 2. Blood shift maneuver, the brain-saving position. I vividly remember one morning when Mr. Robert, a 72-year-old patient, was brought in for emergency care. The nurse told me that unlike many stroke cases, he was still alert, speaking slowly but clearly. The reason was surprising. Before the ambulance arrived, he had performed the blood shift maneuver lying on his back, raising his legs about 30 centimeters and breathing steadily. That small action kept blood flowing to his brain and prevented severe damage. Imagine what was happening in his body at that moment by elevating the legs. Gravity helped push blood back to the heart and brain areas lacking oxygen. At the same time, slow, deep breaths stabilized the heart and prevented sudden drops in blood pressure. In medicine, we call this the body's natural survival response, but to me, it's proof of the power of knowledge. I always tell patients, when your brain calls for help, don't run, don't try to stand. Lie down, breathe, and let gravity do the rest. Just a few calm minutes can buy a lifetime of clarity. And sometimes you, not anyone else, are your own first doctor. 3. The brain can recover. One morning in the rehab room, I met Mrs. Ellen, 74, who had suffered a stroke 8 months earlier. Back then, she couldn't lift her right hand and spoke hesitantly. Many would think that once brain cells are lost, it's over, but the human body is more miraculous than that. I remember her eyes that day as she tried to lift a small spoon off the table, just a few centimeters, but a tremendous victory. Her brain was relearning little by little. Science calls this neuroplasticity, the ability to form new neural pathways when old ones are damaged. Like a road blocked by a landslide, the body finds another route to reach its destination. I often tell patients, don't think age is a barrier. Every movement, every word, even imagining an action, your brain is rewriting its own map. Ellen didn't just regain the ability to hold a spoon. She also reclaimed the warm voice she thought was lost forever. If you ever feel it's too late, remember your brain is still listening, still willing to be trained, and still capable of opening a new life path as long as you never stop believing. 4. Don't ignore brief warning signs. I remember a man named James, 66, who came to my clinic just for a routine checkup. He told me that a few days earlier, while watching TV, his right hand suddenly went numb, his mouth seemed crooked, and his speech slurred. It only lasted less than a minute. When it passed, he thought, it's probably just fatigue. But fortunately, his wife insisted he get checked. An MRI revealed that a tiny blood clot had briefly blocked blood flow to his brain, a TIA, also called a mini-stroke. I told him, James, this isn't a small incident, it's a warning, and he fell silent. Many people think strokes only happen when you collapse unconscious, but in reality, the brain often sends signals. First, numbness, weakness, slurred speech, blurry vision like an urgent knock on the door. Ignoring these signs could lead to a real stroke in hours, days, or weeks. Remember, this brief warning signs are never harmless. They are your last chance to act, get checked, examine your blood vessels, and prevent disaster. 1 minute of delay could cost a lifetime of regret, but one timely decision could save your life. 5. The 3-minute morning routine. I once met Henry, 70, a calm man who started his day with a cup of coffee and his favorite armchair. He smiled and said, "Doctor, my mornings are quiet. Nothing needs changing." But after a bout of dizziness when rising from his chair, he became interested in what I call the 3-minute brain boost. I taught him a small routine before leaving the bed. Sit up slowly. Inhale deeply through the nose, hold briefly, and exhale slowly. Next, lift your heels and flex your calves a few times. Finally, gently rotate your shoulders and neck as if greeting the morning. Simple, right? But those 3 minutes help blood flow from your legs back to your heart and brain, improving cerebral circulation by up to 20. After a few weeks, Henry reported no more morning lightheadedness, clearer thinking, and deeper sleep. I smiled and said, "That's because you've taught your heart to wake up with your brain." At 60 and beyond, each morning isn't just the start of a day, it's a chance to awaken the life within you. 3 minutes may be the most precious 3 minutes of your day. 6. Calmness is strength. I'll never forget Margaret, 68. A retired teacher who once experienced a mild stroke while making tea in her kitchen. She told me, "My left hand weakened. My mouth twitched, and I trembled with fear. But instead of panicking, she remembered my advice. When your brain lacks blood, fear is the worst. Breathing is the best." She leaned against the wall, closed her eyes, and began inhaling deeply through the nose, holding for 3 seconds. Then exhaling slowly through the mouth. Each breath was a reassurance to her body. Everything is okay. Within minutes, her heart rate stabilized and her mind cleared enough to call for help. You see, panic is the enemy of oxygen. Fear increases heart rate and constricts vessels, depriving the brain of life-sustaining blood. Calmness opens the vessels, maintains circulation. Sometimes just a few mindful breaths can save your brain in a life-or-death moment. So if one day your body hesitates, your hands tremble, or your speech stumbles, don't panic. Breathe. Calmness is not weakness, it's the deepest strength of life. 7. Smart nutrition. I often tell my patients like James, 74, who had survived a small stroke, medication can help you recover. But nutrition helps you live long and stay sharp. He laughed and asked, "Doctor, you mean I can heal with my dinner plate?" I nodded. And that began his journey of eating for the brain. I advised him to start with simple food, salmon twice a week, rich in omega-3 to reduce vascular inflammation and improve memory. Leafy greens like spinach and kale full of folate and vitamin K to keep vessels flexible. Each morning, a glass of fresh beetroot juice to boost nitric oxide, widening vessels and improving blood flow to the brain. And don't forget a small piece of dark chocolate, 7% cocoa or higher, just enough sweetness with priceless benefits. After 3 months, James said he felt younger from the inside, skin brighter, memory sharper, and most importantly, he trusted his body again. I tell him, and now you let every meal be a medicine for your brain. Recovery doesn't only come from pills, it comes from small, repeated daily choices made with love for yourself. 8. Age is not weakness. I remember an 82-year-old man named Walter who came to my clinic walking slowly but with bright, alert eyes. He said, "Doctor, I don't want to live longer. I just want to live more aware." That statement stayed with me for a long time. We often associate aging with weakness, loss, and limitation, but for people like Walter, and in my experience, growing older is a stage of awakening. When you start listening to your heartbeat, when you recognize that every breath is precious, when you pause to feel the morning breeze on your face, that is true strength. Walter began practicing mindful breathing, daily walks, light meals, and journaling his memories. He told me, "I feel stronger even if my body isn't as quick as before." And it's true. Real strength lies not in muscles, but in awareness and self-understanding. Aging isn't an end. It's an invitation to live consciously, deeply, and beautifully. When you truly understand your body, you aren't just extending your lifespan, you're enriching the quality of every moment. 9. Train survival reflexes. I often tell my patients, especially those over 60, life is full of surprises and your brain needs practice to react correctly. Imagine this: you're making tea, your hand trembles, your mouth slurs. If you panic, your body fights against itself. But if you've trained survival reflexes, every action becomes instinctive. One of my patients, Linda, 69, had experienced a few transient ischemic attacks. I taught her a simple exercise. When she noticed unusual symptoms, lie down. Lift her legs, breathe slowly, and stay calm. We practiced it repeatedly as a brain rescue drill. Weeks later, when real numbness and dizziness occurred, she reacted instinctively. No panic, no wasted time. By the time EMS arrived, her brain had already been protected by those few minutes of calm, precise action. I tell everyone, training small reflexes today can save your brain tomorrow. It's both mental and physical preparation, a way to empower yourself in life or death moments. And remember, your body always knows how to protect you if you just show it what to do. 10. Share to save lives. I always remind my patients, especially those who have experienced a stroke, a story shared today can be someone's life tomorrow. Imagine a friend, a parent, or a 70-year-old aunt watching a video, reading an article, or hearing a small reminder. They notice numbness in their hand, a crooked mouth, and instead of panicking, they know exactly what to do. One of my former patients, Robert, told me that a short video his son sent him taught him to breathe, lift his legs, and stay calm during a transient ischemic attack. That simple action prevented serious brain damage. Sharing knowledge isn't just talking, it's giving opportunity, it's giving life. Every lesson you pass on can be a lifeline for someone on the edge. So don't keep health secrets to yourself. Tell your parents, siblings, friends, and neighbors. 1 minute of sharing today could save someone's life tomorrow. Your power isn't just in what you do for yourself, it's in how you help others live. Conclusion. Call to action. Today we've explored essential steps to protect your brain, prevent strokes, and recover if they occur. Recognizing your body's whispering early warning signs. Using the blood shift maneuver in critical moments. Training survival reflexes, adopting a morning routine, smart nutrition, and staying calm and aware. Every small action, every breath, every step can be a lifeline for you or someone you love. If you found this information helpful, click like to show you care about brain health. Don't forget to share this video with parents, grandparents, siblings, or anyone you love, because a single minute of correct action can save a life. And be sure to subscribe so you won't miss future videos where we'll share more strategies for living healthy, sharp, and independent at 60+. Remember, brain health is your most precious asset. Stay calm, be prepared, act promptly. You hold the key to protecting yourself and your loved ones. See you in the next video.